What is good, Shahad Crew, and welcome back to another video. You already know, it's a banger. But without any further ado, let's jump straight into it. Alrighty, and for today, we got the Saweetie allegations are wild. I'm not even really sure what's going on, but we about to learn together. Let's go ahead and jump into it.
I want to talk about this recent story involving rapper Saweetie getting exposed by her former road manager, who basically accused her of moving like an escort. I'm sure a lot of people recognize the name, or at least the face. Saweetie got it popping back in 2017 with her breakout song Icy Girl. After that, she had a few big hits and a very public relationship with the rapper Quavo. But even though her music pushed her to the top, a lot of the conversations around her career has always been about her image, her relationships, and whether the fame was built on more than just the music. Now let's get into this particular story. A few days ago, a woman who goes by the name of Maybach May, who claimed to be Saweetie's former road manager, went viral after posting a series of social media posts accusing Saweetie of exploiting her current boyfriend, which is footballer Jadon Sancho, for money. Basically, she claimed that she was the one who arranged Saweetie's trip to London, where she met Jadon. Some of y'all might recognize the name or face. Jadon Sancho is a very famous 25-year-old English footballer, or soccer player like Americans would say, who plays for Aston Villa in the Premier League. Saweetie and Jadon first linked up back in January 2025 following her visit to Chelsea FC's home stadium, Stamford Bridge, back when Jadon was playing there for one season on a loan. That trip ended up being a turning point because, according to Saweetie's former road manager, that's where the story started. Now, Miss Maybach May put up a few posts, but the most prominent one was a screenshot of what she claimed was a text conversation between her and Saweetie. And in those messages,
it's so crazy. Like, I don't know what could have happened, but they had to have had a falling out. And it's just so crazy that once you have a falling out with somebody, or once that person is no longer in your life, anything you've ever done or told them niggas that was dirt, it's over with, chat. For some people aren't like that. Some people are gonna hold it down, but like a lot of people are going to expose. Yeah, he was he's doing that. He was doing that. It's just crazy, bro. It really is insane.
Saweetie was allegedly making an inquiry about Jadon Sancho, basically asking, how much money could I run up if I ended up getting with this guy? And that was one of the most talked about parts of these allegations. This text that the ex-manager claimed came from Saweetie herself, and the message said, when bitches run it up on Jadon, how much they doing in a weekend. So that line alone had people online losing their minds, because if that text is real, it sounds like she's asking, how much are other women making off of him, almost like she's comparing rates. And that's what made this whole situation spiral, because it doesn't just sound messy, it sounds very transactional. And this is important because this is not the first time Saweetie has been accused of this type of thing. Over the years, there's been quiet talk, rumors, gossip.
But can we keep it a buck though? I mean, bruh, that's been happening for a minute. It's just been undercover. They haven't been so open about scamming these niggas out of their bread and not actually fucking with these niggas and really just fucking with these niggas for the money. But this has been happening for a minute now. Let's not act like this is a new thing or anything.
Whatever you want to call it, through the grapevine about her using relationships as a business move. Now, this is kind of when it starts getting into the territory where people begin throwing around words like selling the pum pum, or escorting, which basically is a very serious accusation. Some of y'all might remember how back in 2022, a little over a year after her breakup with Quavo, he seemingly called her out on the song Messy with the late Takeoff. Rest in peace to Takeoff. On that record, he said, bitch, after my dog behind my back, but I ain't stressing. And at the time, everybody knew who the dog was rumored to be. It was Offset. And that lyric right there came right after online rumors started spreading online that Saweetie and Offset had hooked up behind Quavo's back, which allegedly is what started the beef between the two members of the Migos, who are the only two ones left. Saweetie never confirmed it, neither did Offset. However, Offset did years later, recently actually, he denied that. But that moment definitely changed how a lot of people started looking at Saweetie. So now with these new allegations from her former road manager, people are revisiting that old situation, not because the stories are, the same, but because they both paint a picture of how Saweetie moves.
Is she a rapper, y'all, or is she a singer? I'm not really familiar with Saweetie like that. Is she like an R&B, or is she more like a hip hop? You feel me? I'm not familiar
when it
with the
comes to
game.
men with status and power, right? Now, her former road manager put up a few other posts, and one of the most notable ones is where she referred to Jadon Sancho as a client. I want to make one thing clear. I booked her for an appearance to visit the Chelsea Stadium and support the soccer team. Instead of paying me, she fell in love with the client and told him not to pay me. I was a road manager with her, getting her deals. I was solid to this girl. She got what she wanted and never paid me. Simple. I want my money.
Imagine bringing your side project to life just by thinking about it. Meet Base 40.
So that's where the falling out came from that money not getting served up. What's with people and hiring people and then not wanting to pay the people? If you can't pay the people you hiring, stop hiring people. Just do it yourself. I'm sorry. Like, or wait until you can have enough money to hire the people. Like, I don't know what to tell you. That shit is blows me. Like, though, I've heard so many stories of people just going out on tour with somebody and then they not getting paid, or they come out on show and they say it's gonna be a paid show and they don't see a lick of cheese. Like, well, don't even tell the nigga it's gonna be nothing like that if it ain't gonna be that.
Interesting. She claimed she was actually the one who arranged for Saweetie and Jadon to link up, but according to her, things didn't go as planned. And in reality, at least based on what the road manager is saying, the whole plan was for Saweetie to get together with Jadon and he would trick on her. Okay, meaning he'd spend money on her, buy gifts, fly her out, take care of her financially in exchange for her time and attention. Basically, paying for the pum pum, right? But instead of keeping it business, Saweetie allegedly, fell in love with the guy, and that's what Miss Maybach is claiming. So that's when, this whole story turned from just messy into something way more serious. I'll tell a joke, but I ain't never told a lie. I sent you to Dubai because you never balled before and was depressed looking for a happy life. Took you to London, babes. Took you to Nigeria. Booked you on an Australian tour. I helped this girl so much, only for her to play with my money at the end. I'm just missing my payment money from London. Pay up before I start naming the rest of the husbands you was playing with. And her beef with Saweetie is basically that Saweetie didn't pay her for these services, okay? Like 50 cents, she wanted her goddamn money. Now, some people might call that matchmaking or management, but depending on how you look at it, if what this woman is saying is actually true, that starts crossing into something way darker, because what she's describing sounds a lot like what they call procure. Because what she's describing sounds a lot like procuring, which by definition is when someone arranges or facilitates sexual encounters for money on an illegal term.
Okay, it's just because she has a name. It's literally just because she has a name. It has to be, because like that's happening right now. That's literally happening right now as we speak. As I'm watching this video, that is happening. Some nigga is tricking, buying a bag, buying this, buying that, just so that he can go home with this woman and smash. That is happening right now. 100%.
Terms, that's literally what's known as pimping or being a madame, which falls under sex trafficking laws in the United States and most other countries. So if, and that's a big if,
or some female is getting flown out on a trip to go this nigga, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's happening right now.
She's claiming actually happened, that wouldn't just be messy, that would be a crime. But again, these are just allegations. None of this has been confirmed, and Saweetie hasn't, publicly spoken about this. And I just don't know how smart it is for the ex-manager to even put this out there publicly for a few reasons. Number one, I don't know if this is how she makes her money, but if it is, this move could seriously hurt her business, because anyone with money or status is going to look at this and think, yeah, I'm not working with someone who's exposing private stuff like that. And number two, if there's even a little truth to what she's saying, she might have actually put herself in danger, because when you start talking about flying people around for things like that, it can get the authorities involved real quick. I mean, that's not just drama anymore. That's the kind of thing that can turn into a real investigation. So honestly, she might have exposed herself too while trying to expose Saweetie, because if this ever gets to the point where the FBI, whoever starts, looking into it, Saweetie could easily flip it into, she could say that, hey, I was being extorted, or, the manager was the one who was trying to set her up. And just like that, Saweetie gets the get out of jail free card, right?
That's so weird to me. I'll never be the type. I'm broke anyway, so that's way out my budget. But besides the point, it's so weird to me that that's also sexual trafficking. That if you and say you had a long distance type shit, like, or if you just have some hoes that are just live in a different, you have a hoe that lives in a different motherfucking area, like code, motherfucking different state or whatever, and you like, yo, I'm about to call you up a plane so you can come down here and you know what I'm saying, we can get to work, and that's technically sexual traffic. That's like, that's, I don't know, bro. That's odd.
But that's beside the point. This type of thing isn't very rare in the entertainment world. Obviously, none of this is confirmed. These are all allegations, and that's exactly how we're labeling it for now, the Saweetie allegations. But let's be real, a lot of this kind of stuff goes on behind the scenes, right? And it's just that most of the time, it never goes to the public.
Yeah,
Whether it's certain Instagram models or bottle girls, influencers, once they're connected to the entertainment space, it's a whole different ball game. Because what happens is you start mixing money, fame, and access. That's where the lines get blurry. Now, whatever you want to say about Saweetie, go ahead. But the truth is, you know, she got money. She's a millionaire. She's not broke. She got money. But that doesn't automatically mean someone can get caught up in a situation like this. Because the truth is, a lot of women who move in these circles, they might have money, but at the same time, they just don't have that kind of money, right? Like, just to give you an idea, Jadon Sancho, the young man we talked about who's 25, who plays in the Premier League, he's reportedly making 300,000 British pounds a week. That's almost 400,000 US dollars every single week. So rapper money is very different from athlete, but specifically Premier League money, clearly. So when you're in those circles, when that kind of money is floating around, it's a different ballgame, right? And they don't just deal with random women on the street. They go through people, connections, introductions, recommendations, okay, from inside their little world. So when you see a woman with some kind of, you know, popularity, and I'm not specifically saying Saweetie here, but when you see them with these types of women, these types of guys, they don't just pay for, you know, sex. They're also paying for the drama-free experience that comes with it. They know that if they mess with another woman who doesn't have anything to lose, who isn't established or doesn't have her own name, that can get messy fast. But if the woman already has some kind of platform, status, or reputation, it feels safer to them, right? She understands discretion, she understands the game, and she's not about to risk everything for attention. That's the mindset a lot of these ultra wealthy guys have. So it's not always about just attraction. It's about control, you know, privacy, and keeping their world clean from unnecessary problems. I mean, we're talking about wealthy CEOs, executives, entrepreneurs, obviously athletes and musicians and stuff like that. And most of the time, these men already have like a main woman or a wife or a long-term partner who's already aware of how things work. So when they do have someone on the side, that's an arrangement, okay? They know that they can't just mess around with anyone, because one bird-ass bitch can fuck up the whole operation. So that's why a lot of this stuff goes on very quietly through people they trust, introductions, recommendations, circles where everybody already knows the rules, like I said. So that gets into a whole different conversation, one I'm actually working on for a, you know, separate video. But back to Saweetie. Now, it's being alleged that she had multiple trips booked and arranged by this former road manager.
That's so crazy to me too, because it's like, if I'm ever up in a certain degree where I'm just making just fucking fuck you money, just fuck you bread, and I have a woman, that doesn't give me like a shit. I mean, you know what type of money I'm making? Man, watch out. I can do whatever. That doesn't make me feel that way. It just doesn't, bro. I don't know. Like, I don't know, bro. That cheating shit, even if your girl says it's all good, like, if you like, can I, the girl, she said yeah or whatever, like, that's just, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Manager claims that they're flying out to all kinds of destinations, Europe, Africa, Australia with the kangaroos and shit, you name it. And according to her, those weren't just regular work trips. She's claiming there was a whole other purpose behind them, which, if true, would completely change how people look at Saweetie's public image. Because even though these kinds of rumors have been echoing around the industry for years, Saweetie's always tried to play on a certain image, which is like the classy, feminine, and business savvy look, right? Or classy, I would say, early on in her career. Later on, she just said fuck it, right? So the Icy Girl brand that she built early on, it was about luxury, confidence, and independence. But at the same time, the way she's moved outside of that brand has often been the complete opposite. Like a few years ago, she went viral due to this Instagram live she put up where she was telling women, if he's not buying you a Birkin bag or paying your bills, throw that nigga back to the streets.
If he's not getting you a Birkin, if he's not paying for your bills, then throw that nigga back to the streets, okay?
Coincidentally enough, she dropped a song right before that moment called Back to the Streets. So a lot of people started feeling like the whole thing was just marketing, which it was, where she was playing into that same image in order to sell the music. And the issue with that is pretty obvious. You're selling women in your audience this fantasy that if a man isn't buying you a designer bag, which is worthless, or paying your bills, he's not worth your time. Which, in other words, you're basically saying, this pum pum can be bought. Now, as for this particular story, again, these are just allegations. Saweetie hasn't responded to anything, but it's the kind of claim that sticks, especially when it feeds into an image people have already questioned. And the conversation that's been coming up about Saweetie for a while now is how much she's actually benefited from what people call pretty privilege, which in other words means the idea that her looks opened the door for her, that she's been rewarded for being attractive more than her actual talent. But recently, she actually flipped the whole conversation on its head and she went viral for it. During a recent interview, Saweetie actually talked about something she called pretty punishment. In her words, people have seen that she's gorgeous, she's getting money, she's getting bags, she's always in a spotlight. But what they don't see is how many doors were slammed in her face, how many times she's been counted out or underestimated because of her appearance. And this is according to her, right? This is her perspective. Saweetie said they talk about pretty privilege, but they don't talk about pretty punishment. And what she meant by that is that being pretty comes with a different kind of bias. People project on you, they assume things, and sometimes they even root against you out of animosity or hidden agendas. And Saweetie said that this is something that she's dealt with her entire life.
Feel like the industry has tried to count you out? Like
since I started.
Talk about it, man. Because I think people, look, to be honest, people see you're gorgeous. You're getting endless bags. You are, listen, that girl. I don't think they understand how many doors.
Why does the bags keep coming up? Why do I keep hearing you're getting endless bags? You're getting get these bags. Yeah. Alright.
Or how many rejections, how many times people have counted you out?
I saw it on TikTok. They talk about pretty privilege, but they don't talk about pretty punishment. There's been so many times I've just been counted out, and I know that it's behind animosity. I know it's because of a hidden agenda, but it makes me work harder. But this has happened like my whole life. So it's like what I deal with in the industry is just different face, same case.
Oof.
Now, after that clip went viral, Saweetie got a lot of backlash online, but she pushed back, saying the media twisted her words and misrepresented her point. On X, formerly known as Twitter, she said the conversation wasn't about bragging or complaining. It was about microaggressions, hidden agendas, and what it's really like to move through the industry as a woman who's constantly being judged for her looks. And she clarified that she's grateful and she's happy for her success. Glory to God, I believe she said. But the pressure, bias, and judgment is real. And she ended it by saying she's not fazed and that she'll keep going because she has a vision, right? So yeah, she framed the whole pretty privilege narrative into something deeper. And whether you agree or not, it's definitely got people talking, right? Now, I don't know exactly where Saweetie stands after these allegations. We haven't heard her side. And everything that's come out so far is still just...
Bro, did I just see a fucking Saweetie meal from Mickey D's, bro? Man, they be coming out with a fucking new meal every week. Everybody getting a meal. Shit, they might as well give me one.
Claims. But what we do know is that this whole conversation opens up a much bigger door because it's way more common than people think. And it got me thinking about something else, which is if Saweetie, someone with money, fame, and a career, and a very strong brand, is allegedly moving this way, imagine what's going on with the industry women who don't have any of that. Imagine what a lot of these Instagram models are doing behind the scenes, like not the established ones, the ones who are trying to get it popping just now. The ones who are flying out to all these different places like it's nothing. Amsterdam to Bali to Oslo. Next day she's all up in New York and then back to Bali. Like, bitch, how the fuck you do that shit? Posting this luxurious lifestyle, but they don't have a consistent stream of income. And a lot of them are just doing what they can to keep up with the image, to survive, to maintain a lifestyle, or to chase that next opportunity, which usually comes in the form of a man with money who they're using as a come up. I think these allegations are pretty wild. And to emphasize once again, these are just allegations right now. However, I don't know, man. Like Dexter Morgan.
Yeah, I agree. It's not so far out in the realm that I can be like, no, there's no way that's true. That can't be real. You know what I'm saying? It's not that far out in the realm. With that being said, though, y'all, if y'all enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next one.
She call me Luda, bitch, I roll out with my shooters. She wanna fuck me in a Plymouth Barracuda. I got my